Bam, ba-da, ba.
Welcome back to San Diego Living. Two incomes seem to be the norm in lots of nuclear families today, but doling out the dollars for daycare may have you thinking, I don't know. Mom and financial advisor Elizabeth here to help you decide if your career is cost effective. Lots of tough choices to make these days, Elizabeth.
Yeah, a lot of families feel the pressure of going to have two incomes to help them save for retirement or a college education or make sure they have a family vacation each year. But have you really sat down to figure out how much it costs to be gainfully employed?
You know, it's so interesting talking about this. My sister's going through this right now. She teaches at a preschool where my nephew goes. He's next year going to go to public school, and if she goes and does that, it'll be a full day. She'll have to get daycare for him, and then it brings the whole issue around. How do you decide in your family if it's worth it?
Well, when I sit down with a family and figure out how much it actually costs to go to work, one thing we look at is, what is the cost of transportation? What is the cost of running your car, making sure it's maintenance is always taken care of? How much is gas? Are you spending 2 hours a day in the car just traveling back and forth from work? Another cost to look at is your wardrobe. Are you buying new suits every quarter? Do you have to pay for dry cleaning? Do you wear a uniform to go to work? Another cost would be just how much money do you spend on food? You spend money probably going out to lunch. You probably go, you have parents both work, they come home, they pick up the kids, it's already 6 o'clock. Yeah. Now you pick up a pie of pizza, and then now you're spending money on prepared food.
In an ideal world, maybe your in-laws watch your children, but most people have a daycare situation in reality. And a lot of times you're talking about so spending money for daycare and all those other aspects. How do you decide if that really is the thing? You're taking all these factors, and what do you encourage families to do?
So I'd say add up all those costs, the childcare, the extra food that you spend, the traveling, the wardrobe, and add it up and then subtract that from your net pay and your monthly pay, and just see how much is left over at the end of the month, and you might be surprised that it's less than you think. And at that point, you can really weigh out, is it cost effective for me to be gainfully employed, or maybe just have one person working and maybe the other one can stay at home and have a part-time job?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because sometimes in this economy it's maybe not black or white. Maybe you need to bring in two incomes, but maybe working out of the house is a more viable option.
Right. So we see a lot of mom entrepreneurs working at home right now, having their home-based business, and they were very successful women in the corporate world, now taking a step back. When we cut down some of those costs with the child care and the traveling, and then have their home-based business, bring a little income in.
And I know that time is money too, and if you're maybe you have an hour commute each way, that's 2 hours away from 2 hours when you're away from your family. You're not connecting. You forget what are your names again, and so I think that has to play a part in it too.
Yeah, if you really sit down with your family and think of the moments that you do miss when you are working 8 or 10 hours a day, and that's important for you to really be at home and experience that with your children, then really sit down and talk about how much it costs.
What are some ways to scrimp and save? I mean, if it comes to the fact that, it does make sense for our family to go from 2 paychecks to 1, what are some ways to offset those costs?
Well, for any family, no matter how much they make, I always recommend keep to a budget, stick to a budget, figure out how much.
There's that B word again.
Your budget, and also sit down and figure out how much it costs to save for those certain goals that are really important to your family. How much does it cost to save for your vacation and your retirement and college education? Those things are important to you. Once you figure out those costs and your living expenses, stick to that budget. That's why I love being a part of the San Diego Bargain Mama family. That's a website that helps you figure out the best deals in our economy to save money that way.
Coupons,
yeah. Websites. So, and there's, with the slowing economy, there are some great deals out there.
Well, and thank you so much. I appreciate all the information. So again, you want to look at your commute, you want to look at the wardrobe and all those other aspects that we'll have on our website. But it's really good food for thought. Maybe sometimes you can go down to one salary where you didn't ever think that you could. Yeah. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us today, and good to have you.
Thank you, May.
Still ahead, see why you're never too old to change your career. And we're going to learn why so many women are saying no to the white knight on the horse and saddling up for success on their own when San Diego Living comes back right after this.